3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program, November the 19th. You're with the Editor-in-Chief, and we are live.
Duncan Garner, live.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I'm Duncan Garner. Welcome to the program. Good to have you come and leave us a message. Tonight, Bayleys Auckland Chief Executive, Lloyd Budd, joins me to discuss the housing market. He talks candidly about losing real estate agents during the massive slowdown of the last few years and why he thinks Kiwis won't go for a capital gains tax. But first tonight, I want to start with my final view on the Hīkoi, and I'm bringing forward my slam dunk to open tonight's program.
It's the slam dunk.
Now, I know there's been sort of wall-to-wall saturation coverage of the Hīkoi. I'm trying to steer away from it, but I will say this. This was a statement from Māoridom today that they will not accept being pushed around. I think it's pretty clear. And I think it clearly shows how naive and politically inexperienced Luxon was in allowing this to even see the light of day. Make no mistake, National orchestrated this with its anti-Māori rhetoric. And Seymour pushed for it, and in the end, Luxon agreed to it. But to select committee only, you've got to remember, folks, this will not become law. But I think those crucial facts have been lost in translation somehow. And so the government misjudged the depth of feeling against not just Seymour's bill, but the other moves it's made against Māori. But please remember, this bill is not going to become law. I wonder how many in the crowd actually knew that today. It's had an aggressive and impatient and dismissive tone towards Māoridom, and has struck the wrong chord. National is a less tolerant party than the one that John Key led. And Te Pāti Māori are full-time activists who play up for the crowd. They used to be good at politics. Now they're activists. Luxon also may forget these hard-earned inch-by-inch gains that his government is dismantling. But again, I remind you, the principles of the treaty will not change. But Māori will hear what they want to hear, and the Hīkoi has been and gone. Once again, Luxon is out of the country during this historic moment. I firmly believe his lack of time here in New Zealand has affected his views on just how important Māori take this stuff and how they cling to the treaty as a form of insurance or security. Now, by giving Seymour a chance to table his treaty principles bill, it's opened the door to this race debate, and it pits Māori against non-Māori. Now, Seymour may have no issue with that, but Luxon can't afford to be buying these fights in year one of his Prime Ministership. It's ugly. And it's disrespectful, and it's a turn-off, and New Zealand does not do well when we're divided. The turn-out is a message to Wellington. Over our dead body will that bill pass, and it's clearly a pushback at this government's approach to wider Māori issues, and Seymour's bill is part of that. But I stand by my earlier comments. It's not going to see the light of day. National won't be supporting it further. Have you not heard that? It won't be supporting it further. So it's a debate of ideas until then. And here's my one question. What is it that Māori want? I get it that they're restless and unhappy, so can someone please outline for me what success looks like? What do you want? Please tell me. Or do you not know? Is it a protest for the sake of it? Is it a stunt? I don't believe it is. Is it a membership drive for the Māori Party? Please, after all this airtime, can someone please tell me what you want? Now, Hīkoi organisers have said, let's not forget today, and let's use today as momentum. For what? We can't go back to 1840. We've had the settlement process for 50 years, and still it goes on. Billions has been given in redress. The 10 top iwi are worth close to about $10 billion. They control huge aspects of housing, farming, fisheries, forestry, commercial property, in their patch and further afield. We've said sorry for the past numerous times. We have paid some iwi 3 or 4 times as we do the catch-ups or the top-ups. And we're held up around the world as the model of success post the suffering of colonisation. What more can we do? Bankrupt the country? Go so far that you lose Pākehā New Zealand along the way? Who will end up saying, well, what a bunch of nonsense, I'm off to Australia. What is next? And what do you want? Please don't paint me as a racist for asking this question, but what do you want? Please paint me a picture of what success looks like. Because I'm confused tonight. I've got Māori children. I've supported them through kura and kohikohinga and supported their wish to speak their own language and be proud to whakapapa Māori, but equally be curious and find out more about their other ancestry as well. And I hope I've taught them not to disrespect other New Zealanders along the way. But I'm confused tonight because I'm unsure what Māori now want. Māori have schools, their own schools, kura, kohikohinga, a matatini, Māori Language Commission, Māori TV, Māori News, treaty settlements, seats around the table, seats in government if they want them. Iwi don't pay tax. They co-govern with any number of government departments on certain issues. And the big iwi are doing so well when it comes to business. They're the models of business. Ngāi tahu, taino, brilliant. Sure, I understand colonisation has been a dreadful experience, and it is the world over, but surely we have tried for the past, it's now 50 years to right the wrongs, and still we go. So I worry where we're at now. We've been told the last 50 years this was progress. Is it not? And I'm confused because if Māori want a separate system, then that's a no-go for me. I'm out. It never worked in South Africa. It won't here. Living amongst and with each other is the only answer, and respecting our differences and embracing them is surely the only way to go. But we've got to get this right somehow.
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay, now Lloyd Budd has been in the same job since he left university. Picked up as a potential property superstar by Bayleys Real Estate on a scholarship as a 17-year-old. He had to ask Mr. Bailey, sir, what is it that you do again? What do you do, by the way? Well, 20-odd years later, he is now the CEO of Bayleys Auckland, of the Auckland office, and he's seen the highs and recent lows and the fallout to all of what's been that sort of post-COVID property market. And he's got views on everything, and I spoke to him a little bit earlier today. Lloyd, welcome to the podcast. Nice to see you, mate.
Thanks, Duncan. Great to be here.
I want to try to have a wide-ranging chat now about housing and all sorts of things, but Trump, I just want to bring in Trump because there's so much talk about, Trump gets elected and suddenly all these Americans want to come to New Zealand. You would know whether it's true or not.
Well, we've seen the inquiry spike from the Americans, and look, whether you like Trump, whether you don't like Trump, he's going to shake things up, man. There's going to be some massive change we're going to see in policy. That's going to drive some people out of the States looking for homes elsewhere.
And so have you seen inquiries bump?
We've seen inquiries bump. We've been tracking them through our website. They're up something like 4,000% or something
Really?
like that. But obviously it's from a very low base, so I don't want to blow that number away.
No, sure, but it's still.
But it's noticeable, right?
Yeah.
And look, at this stage, it's just people kicking the can down the road, see what's out there. keep in mind, we've got a pretty restrictive OIO policy in place at the moment, so you've got to be able to work through that.
Yeah, but and how many of these things go from, if you like, inquiries to full-blown deals?
Well, we've got to get a couple of these Hollywood superstars out here looking at some beautiful New Zealand properties and then go and sell them to the world for us.
Is Trump a good thing for the economy?
Look, it's going to be tough for some New Zealand businesses looking to export to the States.
Yep.
And I think that will have a little bit of an impact on confidence for some of those New Zealand businesses. If you were relying on that export market, would you be buying a new property right now? Would you be investing in more R&D or more stuff? Probably not. You're probably going to wait and see how that plays out.
He's pretty protectionist, isn't he? But in terms of our housing market, how does it impact there? Okay, we might be competing against some Yanks for the houses, but
I don't think that's going to quite play out at that level.
No,
I don't think there'll be too much impact. Hopefully, we see an increase in the OCR or a decrease in the OCR coming up.
Yep.
And I think part of the Trump economics will play into the decision the Reserve Bank make. So maybe that's a benefit we see in the next little while.
Do you? I mean, everyone thinks the housing market's turned now, and that we've hit the bottom, and now we're now slowly inching our way up. I wouldn't say it's a huge pace because money's a bit more expensive, but historically it's not that expensive at 5.5%. Pretty standard if you look at it on long run averages.
Yeah, absolutely, Duncan. And look, I think that's one of the things we've started to see, that rates are kind of normalised, volumes are kind of normalised, pricing's sort of normalised. And I know it doesn't make for a big sensational media headline that prices are going up by this. But yeah, it's just kind of what it is. But look, I feel, and my colleagues, I think we all feel we're past that trough. We're past the bottom.
Yeah.
How long we're there for, how long this recovery takes. I've given up on the crystal balling.
I think people were just got so used to 2% interest rates, and I always thought that's a very dangerous interest rate to have because people get sort of stuck on this debt at 2%. They think this is going to be for a lifetime. It's never for a lifetime.
It's a sugar rush, right?
Exactly.
It's free money, and look, I mean, as you say, we're going to have money at probably close to 5.5% by mid next year. My first mortgage when I bought a house up in Whangarei, where we're from. I remember getting money at 8.25%.
Even that, I mean, my highest was 9.99, which was May 2007. I'll never forget it.
There you go.
9.99 is like, jeez.
Sub 10, what a deal, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what our parents would say, sub 10. But so these people, there'll be a few people who have actually gone backwards in the market, those who bought during COVID and so forth, and then, had to sell on the down. They may well have paid too much, and that's the housing market. It's a good bet, but it's not a sure bet, is it?
Look, I think for me, housing's a sure bet over time.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with anything, right?
It's investment, right?
Correct. And again, I think we've got to get out of this cycle of this kind of short-term media cycle stuff, and sort of it can really sensationalise what's happening at that moment. I think you go back to the basics. What do you want? You want a house for your kids. You want to be in a school zone. You need to be close to your work.
It's almost been forgotten in the whole thing. It's like investment. I grew up in a house and I knew it was our house because we were in it for 20 years. Not once did I hear Dad say, I've invested in this house.
No.
But nowadays people are, they want to flip, and a lot of that stuff's gone though, right?
Oh, exactly. And that's what's probably taken the heat out of it so quickly. You know, I've always been a believer, if you're buying real estate for the right reasons, then you can't go wrong. But you've got to have that look beyond what a short-term cycle looks like.
What do you make of a capital gains tax debate? Because Labor's reaching for this again, and they've failed to learn from their last two defeats on it, I suppose. But they want to look at this again. What's your position on capital gains?
Yeah, look, I think it's great that we have the conversations, okay? I mean, I'm not going to buy into the big argument that capital gains tax will tip over a property market. It hasn't in other parts of the world. But I do think it has to be balanced. And I think this whole idea of how far it goes and where it applies, and there's so much to dig into it that I don't think we really understand where it lands. To have the conversation is healthy.
But we've had the conversation twice, and New Zealanders have pushed back on the idea. I think it sounds great in practice that, you know, anyone making income from somewhere must be taxed. But as soon as you suggest, okay, well, now it's going to go on the secondary housing, you know, on the flat or the investment property, people sort of step away from it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know we've had this bright line test, which has been a form of it. So I think that's helped with some of the short-term flipping.
10 years was a joke, though.
10 years was a joke. That's
2 years is right.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, I support the theory, too, I said before, about trying to stop the idea that property is just this investment game.
Yeah.
Add value, that's great. Hold for family reasons, you know, get in the right school zones, whatever. That's fantastic. You deserve that upside. That's generational wealth.
How do you though, with the way prices of houses are these days, and it's only going to go one way, because I think there's going to be a big bump shortly upwards. I think that it's only going one way. I know it's come back a bit, but it's going to go up with the next boom. How if you're a teacher or if you're a police officer or whatever, and you want to get your kid into, say, Auckland Grammar or one of the good Auckland schools, you're almost priced out now at that level. If you're one of those jobs, you're better off in Australia.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
hard to argue. It is hard to argue.
It is hard to argue, but equally, Duncan, I think there are different asset types around, and I think we often think of housing as what we all grew up in, and having 4 bedrooms and having a backyard and having this. And look, I think there's some fantastic product out there now, really well-designed townhouse or apartment products, lots of common areas, lots of amenity, gyms on site, all this stuff.
There is that. Yep.
So we're evolving with that, and hopefully the plan and the way the city evolves will support that to get more people.
There's also a lot of houses being replaced by 10 townhouses that aren't of the quality that you talk about too. There's all sorts of, you know, you can, if you want to find junk, you'll find junk.
I think that's fair. I think it's like anything in life, right?
Yeah.
So I think for us, it's about quality, sustainable product. And I don't mean that in necessarily a green sense. I mean sustainable in terms of, you know, being able to support that from a mortgage or a loan point of view.
So with the back to the capital gains thing, do you think you don't support it?
No, I don't support it.
No.
I think it's a healthy conversation. I support fair tax. I think a fair tax system is required so we can give the public services we need.
But does it make therefore income earned off housing, or capital gain off housing tax free? Doesn't it? Is that a fair? Is that fair when wage units go to work every day and the PAYE? Yeah,
I mean, I'm not an economist to get into what's fair on the PAYE, how the PAYE earns. I mean, I think we've got so many ways to collect revenue. I think looking at property and capital gains, I don't know if that's where my head's at the moment. Right. Maybe I'm biased.
Possibly, but you are the chief executive of the Auckland branch of Bayleys. The period of the last few years, would you say it's been the most challenging time in real estate in your life? Yeah,
for me. I started with Bayleys back in 2001, so we've seen a few ups and downs.
20 years, eh? You've done 23 years.
Yeah, she's been flown by.
Yeah.
But no, look, what's been tough, I think, was just how much pressure people have been under. So, yes, we've been through these cycles before, and I've been lucky or not to have seen this is my third one. But what I think is different this time is we came out of COVID, we had the sugar rush, and because there was the additional financial pressure and those additional sort of mental health and pressures on people, it's been a lot harder.
Yeah, because the market almost, especially in some of your neck of the woods, died, didn't it? It literally was put on life support for a while, wasn't it?
Well, we were talking before about like work from home, right? And I understand that was a necessity for a period of time, but it's now all of a sudden become a behaviour.
Yeah.
And you lose that human contact.
You don't think it works?
Personally, no. I couldn't do it.
And your staff will go to work?
All of our staff have always been. We've always been 5 days in the office.
Yeah.
Since the level 3 or whatever was lifted, but it's always been about us, that value of collaboration and innovating together, sharing ideas, having fun, helping your mate out, seeing who's having a tough day. And there's so much value in that.
And you've been involved heavily in commercial work, right? Commercial leases and so forth. You must have seen a huge shift of businesses who've downsized or have left or taken out, throughout this downturn. Yeah,
we have, and there's been a real shift to quality. So we've seen a lot of offices maybe decrease their floor size, their floor plates, but actually increase their productivity. So they were just getting different ways of working.
And how do you fill those buildings? Have we got lots of empty buildings?
In certain parts of the market, it's tough. Yeah. I think if you're a landlord and you don't have a tenant, you've got to have a hard look at what are you providing in terms of services. You've got to look at whether that's the right use long term.
See, I don't know much about commercial space, but I do, when I drive around, I see sometimes the same building with a sign out there, for lease, and I think, man, what do you do with a commercial building that no one wants to go into? Because they're big things, right?
Well, they are.
So what do you do with them? Repurpose, but...
Yeah, repurpose. Look at Brett Russell, the Dominion Construction guys.
Yeah.
They repurposed the Bayleys old office into a QT hotel. Yeah. What a fountastic spot. Put a bar on the roof. Found an alternative.
That was Bayleys, wasn't it?
That was our old office.
Yes.
So there are great examples. Exactly.
That's where you are.
Yeah.
I'm confused. I'm just going back to the old office.
Yeah.
So because you do see a lot of that. That's been one of the sort of more untold stories, I suppose, of the last few years, isn't it?
Yeah, and Precinct did it with One Queen as well. Another great rooftop bar.
Did you lose many agents? Did you lose many agents in this time? Because you can't, if you're not selling, how do you survive?
Yeah, unfortunately we have. We do our best to try and support them in terms of maybe trying to get them property management or marketing roles or other things within the business, because a lot of that IP, it's worth retaining if you can.
Yeah.
Ultimately, hard truth is it's not everyone will survive it, and we try our best. But
it's like all industries, right? Everyone's faced some sort of adversity. If you're starting off as an agent, how tough is it to start the gig? Because it's one of those jobs, isn't it? I suppose that I've always looked at and thought, man, you're either making heaps or you're not making anything at all. But how do you survive?
Are you looking for a job?
No. Well, we can talk about this afterwards. I always thought I could sell, actually. Yeah. But anyway, how hard is it to get started? I know someone who started in Wellington, a different company, Tommy's it was, and they did after about 6 months, couldn't do it anymore. Because it's hard, right, to start at the ground level. Yeah,
so, fun fact, 50% of real estate agents don't survive 2 years.
What's the fun bit about that?
Sorry, it's a fun fact.
Yeah, I know.
But it's, and that's not a Bayleys stat, that's an industry stat.
Yep. Wow, so, 1 and 2.
Yeah, 1 and 2. So I think there's two things. One, there's a lot of kind of over-promising in real estate. When you get someone in, you can come in and they see these big numbers and they see this.
Yeah.
And so
sharpen your pencil.
Yeah, so we've tried to kind of roll that back a bit and talk more about how do you build a career over a longer term. But I think the support part, the training part is a part of it.
Yes.
But ultimately it's a mindset, and quite often having the luxury of a financial base or a partner or a parent that might be able to support you through that initial setup phase.
People say to me, when the market's going really well, the house sells itself, but they say the same thing about journalism, that story will write itself. It never does. Nothing ever sells itself or writes itself, but there would be some houses easier to sell than others, right?
Yeah, JB, our founder, always says there's only one reason why a house won't sell. Yeah. That's price.
Yeah.
So, yes, anything can do it, but our job...
So true though, right?
Well, yeah, right? So our job's not necessarily to just be there to facilitate we're not a mailbox service, we're not a tour service, we're there to actually add value to our customers' assets. So
sometimes also telling them about the hard, cold reality check as well, and look, you guys want too much.
Yeah, we try not to do that. We try to let the market speak for what the market is and try and sum up those messages for them. But ultimately, it is people's most valuable asset. It's their biggest decision to make. So you're not in the mood of trying to tell people that.
No, the market, as you say, will respond accordingly. But do you think we have a love affair with housing that's just not going to go away? Is it? Is this like the same? Is this like it is around the world, like it is here?
Yeah, I've started with Bayleys a while ago. I did have a stint overseas. So I've actually had the luxury, I would say, of seeing that. And absolutely, everywhere in the world. To have a to have a home, to have a place to call yours, to have somewhere to hang up your photos, to have somewhere for the kids to grow up. I think that is the love affair. That's the emotion that.
But the reality is that a lot of New Zealanders, they simply won't be able to afford it, right? Because your home ownership's been coming down.
It is. It's still in the mid-60s. Which is still quite high on a global scale. Hopefully, there are more initiatives to help more people get into home ownership. Because I think it's fantastic for communities. It's
You have to.
Like if you own your house, you're gonna make an extra effort to look after the neighbours. You're gonna make an effort to take the kid to the school. You're going to tell someone to pick up their rubbish. The impact of home ownership on communities has been huge.
Does it worry you that some people see it as too hard?
No, I mean, look, I think it's about a stage and phases and stages in life, right? And again, New Zealand probably doesn't quite have the diversity of product that we need, right?
I think that's fair. I think it's actually fair. It's almost a criticism of the fact that we haven't built the right houses.
Spot on,
correct?
Yeah. Absolutely spot on. And that's the bit I think we're starting to acknowledge that when we talk about home ownership, and look, Key used to talk about this 12 years ago, right? I think he got in a bit of trouble because he said, guys, go out there and buy an apartment, get on the ladder, and he got a bit of pushback from it.
So that's what I did. I went to halves with my uncle in an apartment in Wellington when I was 24.
Thank you, so yeah.
Boom, boom, boom,
There you
boom.
go.
You know?
So
you've got to get some equity in somewhere.
Correct. So look, if your dream is a 4-bedroom leafy villa in Devonport, and that's your idea of your first home, that is an unattainable first.
Well, you have to make sacrifices, and just because your parents live there doesn't mean that you need that on day one or can do that on day one. Day one might be Ellerslie, it might be the back of Papatoetoe, but
get on the ladder.
Yeah.
Start. Whatever that
start
looks
yesterday.
Like. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
I know.
The best next time is now.
What about so was property in your guys' blood growing up? From a good rugby family, right?
Shout out to the rugby playing the Taniwha. No, I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship when I was leaving university.
Yep.
And John Bayleys, our founder, quite a funny story actually, picked me out of a lineup of people and said, "I'm JB, you can work for me now." And I said,
"Oh, you got picked from a lineup like a criminal."
Literally, like a criminal.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, what do you do?" And he said, "Well, I'm the chairman of Bayleys." Yeah. And I said, "Well, that's wonderful. What do they do?"
Oh, did you say that?
I said that. So I was off to a flying start.
It was a great start. You're still there.
Yeah, amazing, eh? So no, property was far from the blood. That was one of those sort of sliding door moments in life, and
changed your life, didn't it?
Changed my life, and I've been fortunate enough to have the support of the business and some great mentors throughout. Like anything that,
well, you need them, right? I mean, we all need people to look up to. And being the you've been CEO, chief executive of the Auckland branch for a year. What challenges does that bring, being the boss? Because you were once the little guy there, well, not little, but the young guy there, and you've sort of, and it's great for Bayleys to recognise that they trained you all the way through, So I love that, to see that there is a end for someone, there is a pathway.
Yeah, thanks, Duncan.
Yeah. What challenges does that bring?
Look, the challenges are one. I think we're in real estate. It's in one. Once it's in you, that's what you want to do. So I love working with customers. I love doing deals. I love being on the tools. And so a challenge for me has been having to step away from some of that and not
admin.
And so that's been probably personally the hardest thing to kind of step away from. I think the other challenge has been the market and just dealing with people's. You become a life coach. You become a
counsellor, wouldn't you?
You become you end up spending a lot of time listening to people and spending time with people.
It's important to listen, eh?
And I love it. By the way, please don't take that as a negative. I absolutely really thrive on it, but it has been a different skill set to probably what you get out when you set out to get in real estate.
I bet you've had to sit there and listen to people talk themselves out of a job or talk themselves out of a deal and talk themselves, Lord, this is hard work, mate. I don't think I can do this anymore. Because that's the conversations that have been around all these businesses for the last couple of years. That's
right. And whether you're in journalism, whether you're in real estate, when you're in whatever you're in, I think it's about that moment that trying to stay positive and go, hey guys, there is a way through this. We've got to listen, but how do we find a way through this?
Why? I lean on this. Because it's been good chatting with you, good catching up. Why are we not trusted? Why am I not trusted? Why are you not trusted? Why are we next to the politicians? Why are we next to the car salesman? I mean, we are lumped together.
I had to ask.
I can understand why you're not, but
I had to ask Paula Bennett this question because she's the trifecta. She's a politician, a real estate agent, and a journalist. So
who loves cars?
Who loves cars? Sorry, Paula. So look, I think I have been asked this question before.
Yeah.
Look, I think we as an industry, we do like to represent a lot. We do like to, and genuinely, I think people care. You know, Duncan, I can sell you a place, I can get you this, I can get you know. I don't think they're necessarily misleading. I don't think there's necessarily a bad bone in their body in doing so. They're just optimistic people.
But we're visible too.
But that's a fair point.
So when you go and buy a car, you might see a car salesman. When you go and buy a house, you'll deal with the agent. When you're watching the news or listening to the news, you'll hear the voice or you see the face. So we're kind of out there. The insurance salesman, all you get is the automated message. Sorry, we're turning down your claim. You know, but you know what I mean. So it's very much it's very very similar industries. You know, we're on billboards. So are you. How much of that sort of cult of personality does exist in real estate and ego and that sort of thing? It must be huge.
Oh, it is. But again, I think it is like horses for courses, right? There are some individuals in our business and in our competitors' business, our industry, that I trust implicitly.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, you can look at that and that might be the same person that's got their face on the billboard, but that's their market. That's what they do.
Does it work? Does that stuff work?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Because I've gone past the same guy from a different company for the last 10 years, every day, the same guy. He's always on this billboard. And I think, if I was going to sell in this area, you probably should try this guy. Now, he might live in somewhere else and not even represent that area, but he's got his foothold there, I reckon. And you guys do that well too.
Well, you know, one thing I think the market, the customer will trust you and me a lot more going forward is going to be the more reliance there is on technology, the more reliance there is on AI. I think people are going to start to understand that trust is actually one of the things that you and I both sell. I
was speaking to a recruitment guy the other day, and he said exactly that. He said the soft skills. So if you're an accountant, well, they've got an app for that. Even the doctors, there's an app for that, healthcare too. But I want to sit down and do a deal with you. I need to look you in the eye, shake hands, and be a decent person. So all those skills, you know, being an extrovert, not an introvert, are going to come to the fore, I think.
Agreed.
You've got them.
Thank you, Duncan.
Okay.
It's fun to be
Nice
here.
catch up, mate. Cheers.
Always a pleasure.
Okay, Lloyd.
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay, yeah, Lloyd Budd, decent fella. Now, good guy. The comments that are coming in, I want to go through some of these. Isaac, I'll bring you in here as well for a bit of someone to bounce something off, you know, producer Isaac. Stephen, I thought his name was Lemon, but it's Lennon. Stephen Lennon says, Duncan Garner's a Māori basher, and when critical of his stance, he claims he's part Māori. Well, I reject the fact that I'm a Māori basher, and also I've never claimed to be part Māori when someone's critical of my stance. So we'll put that guy to sleep. Stephen Lennon also says there were over 100,000 easy at the Hīkoi, but the mainstream media says there were 40,000. Typical bullshit. How many were there?
I don't actually know, but 100,000 is a lot of people.
40,000 is a lot of people.
40,000 is a lot of people. It's very impressive. Yeah, I don't know, but I haven't seen anything higher than about 42,000.
Yeah. I think I got this wrong. You see, because at the start of the week I said I didn't think it would get bigger than the last one, and it did. So I'm willing, Mr. Lemon or Lennon, I'm willing to put my hand up and say I got that. I predicted it wrongly. I thought it'd be smaller. Yeah. I'm not embarrassed to say that. So it was way bigger than I thought it would get. But it's not 100,000 easy, and that's just crap. He's a troll, isn't he? More Māori in Pacifica are either homeless or renting than actually owning a home. That's actually correct from Frosty. 35% of Māori own a home, Isaac?
Oh, yeah.
35% is low, isn't it?
That's crazy low. I thought it was lower. Or maybe is Pacifica lower?
Pacifica's lower.
Okay, wow.
Pacifica's like 20%. 20%.
Yeah, wow. Crazy.
But 35% for Māori, so that means 65% of Māori don't own their own home. 6.5 out of 10 people.
Yep.
James Jackson says Ute Express was founded in 2015. We're finally looking at expanding. By Friday we'll have 3 utes. Well done, James. That means you're increasing the GDP of this country, so congratulations to you, the first positive comment there. Jacko says that Commerce Commission should look into real estate companies' charges, which are often exorbitant. They do seem like a lot. You haven't bought a sold a house, have you, Isaac?
Oh, no.
But what did I pay for my last? I think it was about 30 odd grand or something for the fee.
Really?
That's what you pay.
Wow.
So it's a percentage of the house sale, you see.
Yeah, true.
So you go sell a $2 million house, you get about 60 grand.
Nice.
How many of those do you need a year? Duncan, Aussie house prices are absolutely insane. Average price in Sydney is $2 million. Yep, okay, it probably is too. Land tax is better than a capital gains tax. Probably is as well. Yeah, but I may have a home, but I can't afford my bills anymore. That's why people are going to Australia. They really are, eh?
Yeah.
If you're a teacher, police officer, why would you stay in New Zealand?
Yeah, oh man. I mean, cost of living everywhere is not that great anymore.
No, but you can earn more over in Australia.
You can earn
double your
significantly
salary.
more. Yep.
Duncan, would you still vote Trump like you said you would on the AM show? Well, I don't get the chance to vote Trump because I'm not American. So I can't vote Trump. Or the other one. God, two terrible candidates, wasn't it? What are the options? Right, let's do 3 questions.
3 questions from the editor-in-chief.
Okay, so that was big. So will the gang show up in even bigger numbers? Even if every gang member showed up on Thursday, they would not get a crowd like the one we saw today. Now, Mr. Stephen Lennon thinks it's 100,000 easy, but it's not. It's around 40, they reckon. But even if every gang member turned up on Thursday, they won't get a crowd like that. Nor would I imagine they would be picking up fellow New Zealanders to support them along the way. Still, it could be a tricky Thursday. Watch this space, okay? And number 2, I've been fretting over this, but 7 to go. When 4 points down, did Scott Barrett do the right thing and kick for 3 points? In hindsight, and it's a wonderful thing right now, isn't it, hindsight? He should have pushed for the corner and scored a try, or tried to score a try. It's so easy to say now, I accept that. But how many times did you question Richie McCall's calls over 100 and something tests? I actually can't recall one time. Check your KiwiSaver at number 3. If you're in a default account, get out. The difference in returns is massive. No advisor. Well, all advisors should be telling you this, but you're not even listening to them, you see, because you put yourself into the default. Seriously, the difference is like 100k by the time you retire. Just don't be lazy. Choose a good provider. 100k difference in your savings scheme over a lifetime is a huge amount of money, so do the right thing.
Duncan Garner, live.
I hope you're in the right one, Isaac. Are you? You've chosen a good one to be in.
My KiwiSaver.
Yeah.
In terms of like.
Are you in the default setting, or did you?
No. So
man.
I'm doing I do 3% of my income, because then company matches it, which is great.
Yeah.
And then I'm on the high risk, high reward one.
Yeah, good man. Yep.
I'm young, got time.
Do you know the company you're with?
Yes, Fisher Funds.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I see you were with Kiwi Wealth before then.
What?
You were with Kiwi Wealth before.
Well,
then.
no, I wasn't, because I only set it up. Actually,
recently?
Not that long ago.
Okay.
Maybe a
But
year
seen
ago.
it grow? You seen it grow?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it's good, eh?
It's good. I mean, high risk, high reward, so it could all be gone tomorrow.
No. The last 5 years, you've had about 10% return on that, so
Yeah.
it's all good. But just don't, honestly, the default, I did some work on this last night, the default settings, the default accounts, the default providers, they don't care. There's not enough, they do not get you the return. You know?
Yeah.
So
Which doesn't surprise me.
all you do is just sign a bit of paper and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right, that's us. This will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly and wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for all your feedback and support. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. To my team, Isaac, thank you, sir, all the work you do. To Forrester, who might be around shortly, I'm not sure. And we'll do it again tomorrow. Remember, life is no dress rehearsal. There is no curtain raiser. This is it. We can hold different opinions and still get on, surely. We've got to stop the aggro. And just because someone holds a different opinion to you, then they're suddenly racists and bigots. They're not. Hear them out. Have an argument and have a contest of ideas. We still live in one of the best places on earth, so get out and enjoy it. Have a great rest of the evening. Take care, New Zealand.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief Live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.